Guys, have you ever looked at a key or a lock and you thought to yourself, you know, that's just going to be too hard. It's got all kind of alien tech on there I've never seen before. Got side pins, got pin and pins, got laser sliders on the side, got the interactive element there. Forget about it and just throw it back in a box. And in the case of this Mauer, that might be the right decision. I've been working on that for a year. I got nothing out of it. But it happened to me again the other day with this lock. This is from the Madhouse. He's a locksmith in Belgium. And this was taped together, and I was going through the box. There were 5 or 6 locks, and I just saw this thing, and it looked like some weirdness I'd never encountered before, and I just assumed the worst, and I just threw it back in the box. Thought, yeah, get it later, maybe, if I get a chance. 20 minutes ago, I pulled it out and took another look at this thing. Let me set that guy down and take a look at the key. First of all, you notice we got some very, very sharp warding in both sides of this thing. Looks a little intimidating. Massive key. And then when you look at the bitting, you think, oh my goodness, you got probably some kind of dimple action going there. But as I looked at it closer, I realized that most of those look like a normal pin tumbler. And those are probably also normal pin tumbler pins. They've just been gouged out of that extra slab on that side. So I flipped it over and looked at the other side, and I realized that they're identical. So what I thought was a double-sided multi-challenge lock turned out to be probably just a 6-pin tumbler. It does have some weirdness. You got the warding to deal with, and it looks like the pins are offset to the right side. So for the first time, I picked up the lock to see, okay, what are we dealing with? And you know what? We're not dealing with anything. I mean, it's got that sharp warding on the sides, but we can work from the bottom of the keyway with no problem. The only challenge, if there is a challenge, is on the pins are offset to the right. So if we try to pick straight up and down, you're going to hit that ledge. So as long as you pay attention and go off to the right, you're probably going to have some pretty good luck with this BKS. I threw it in the vise, and within literally 30 seconds, this dude was open, completely open. So I stopped there and decided to see if we can't document this Trojan horse lock. Let's see if we can make it happen again. I'm going to clamp it up exactly the way we did before. I'm going to use the same tensioner. This is the 1mm tensioner from Mad Bob's. And I at first tried to go clockwise, but there's just not enough meat. It kept falling out. So then if I went clockwise, it does hang in there pretty good. First thing I did is take the rake. This is the TOOL rake. This is the 4-wave Bogota. It's like a Bogota, but with an extra hump on the top of there. As I said, the only trick is slide it in and kind of angle it up to the right, because that's where all the pins were, and just kind of wallow around in there, slide it in and out, and bam, false set. And that's about how fast it happened last time. Well, I thought if I can get a false set, that means I'm hooked up on probably a spool pin, and if I can find those spool pins, we can get into this thing. So grab, this is from the Praxis kit. This is the 23,000th one. Slide this dude all the way in. I got plenty of room to work in there, and see if I can get some feedback. And just find, if I can find the binder, he'll give us some counter rotation. Right there he is, pin 2. In fact, that might even be, I think it's pin 2. I was going to say it might even be pin 1. Overcome the counter rotation and pick the spool and move on to the next one. But there is no next one. That's how fast it happened last time, too. So anyway, don't be intimidated by Trojan horse locks. Just because you've never seen it before doesn't mean you can't open it very quickly. And let's go ahead and take a look. Since we've gone this far, let's see what this guy has inside. So I'm going to try, see what we got here. All right. I'm going to have to bend him probably. Let's get the old school flat blade screwdriver. Let's lock him up first. So put him all the way around like that. Lock him up. We do have the key. And let's see if we can just pry this dude off. Probably going to break it, but that's okay. Try not to gouge it through your hand. Team Integy, 1,000 questions. Team Integy screwdrivers. They're made from model aircraft. You know, putting together model aircraft. They're okay, but they're not that good. Given the choice, get yourself a Craftsman. I've answered that many times. All right, let's get the key in there. Get this dude open. Line him up like that. And that should work. Unless we have a very sharp pin in there, this ought to work. All right. It's nasty. These are very used locks. All right, let me just dump these guys out. A lot of wear on these pins. You can see they're brass and they're coated with some kind of silver material, nickel maybe, and they're starting to wear through on the top from use. I have no idea how old this lock is. Okay, we got a standard. We got another standard. Let me turn this down a little bit so you guys can see me beating on the tray. Standard. Standard. Man, this lock is filthy. And standard. And on the core, nothing. Just a standard core. Just the only weirdness here is that scary looking lock. Or a scary looking key. All right. Let's see what we got upstairs. There's our spool. Nice little, looks like a little steel spool, a little short guy. Okay, we do have another spool here. I didn't expect that there would be two, but clearly there are. And I would be willing to bet the rest of these guys are going to be standards because we were able to rake them so quickly. Standard. Standard. Oops, put them right there. These are all the same size. It doesn't really matter. And it should be the last one. Also a standard. No other alien tech in here, guys. I can assure you. All the springs are the same. They're all brass or copper springs. None of this threaded or anything. So the only thing we were dealing with in here, despite this scary Trojan horse looking key, is we had two spools, and I think it's pretty clear that we raked number one because I picked number two. He was the only spool I detected with the DeForest diamond. Anyway, fellas, there you go. Just because it looks weird, just because you've never seen it before, just because it looks like it's got multiple security elements, doesn't mean it is. Give it a shot, and I think, like me, you'll be surprised at how quickly you can get into them. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal.